So let's get started with the today's agenda. In the last day's session, we have talked about how we can report the issues with a variety of tools and what is the ideal process of interacting with the other team members while you are onboarded with the quality assurance duties. So as soon as you will be hired as in quality assurance, and if you are reporting the issues, then how you have to internally pass with your each and every member. Now, today we will be just seeing our testing activities side by side, that what exactly the activities that we should have to keep it in a mind while developers are doing some X task, what tester do. So for this, I have just created a small good diagram where I have kept both the things side by side regarding what a software development lifecycle phases that we have versus what all possible testing and what all activities a quality assurance candidate do when they are onboarded as an QA. So we have already talked about software development lifecycle model on the day one, where I talked about a small idea with that we do have variety of models in which the development is ongoing, starting with waterfall model, P model, and then later agile. But every model of development qualifies for the majorly five phases, and those phases are mentioned here as on left side. So let me just show you what are software development lifecycle phases that we are discussing within, and later we will see that how the testers are getting involved within those stages. So as soon as development is getting started in the company for the particular project or a particular product, I can see that either this this all phases will be followed in the sequential manner, like as soon as the one particular phase completes, the second phase gets starts, or either every single phase goes side by side. When I say every single phase goes side by side, that means for starting with a first phase, as soon as the requirement gathering is done, another team member or the other people will keep working onto the analysis of that particular project only. So let me brief about each and every software development lifecycle phase by which we can have the idea that in which particular phase what we exactly do. Okay, so starting with the requirement gathering, as soon as the particular project is available in the company to get developed, whether it's a mobile application or whether it's a web application or whether it's a product, a requirement specification documentation will be provided by business analyst candidate, and those requirement later further bifurcated with a functional requirement, means the requirement which are must to be tested. Non-functional requirement means the requirement which are good to have and gives the as of use while using the application. And the business requirement, where business requirements are nothing but which generates the ROI, return on investment, which generates and converts the revenue. Based on that, whatever the requirement that is mentioned in the requirement documentation, a respective team member of a development or either a developer head will go through most of the time wireframes which are provided by client only and approved from client only, and those wireframes are nothing but you can consider some screenshots, images, some sample application demo, or sometimes the application which will be available on paper. They have just drawn up some idea and they have picturized that, okay, if we click onto this button, then probably after clicking on it, we will be redirected on this particular page or similar. So as soon as the requirement will be clear, they will try using a similar web application or the mobile application just to understand that what all existing problem available in the market in the already present solution versus what exactly they have to overcome with the newer solution provided, basically the newer solution provided by us as a company. So we need to understand that if already existing solution is available, then why people are not using it. Let's talk about a very good example of this software itself. Why we are using uh, WPS. This is kind of a WPS software I'm using it. Just the moment I'm just showing you that the software name is WPS, and WPS Office, it's a name. I'm not using Microsoft Office, which is a Microsoft Shoot. Over that solution, I have adopted WPS Office, which also works same way. Even if you see here currently, it gives the same look and feel and ease of use as well. So that was the idea that if Microsoft Office is already available as a solution to view the documentations, why I'm still using the WPS? So there will be lot many different sort of parameters that I have measured across Microsoft Office to the WPS Office, which pushes me to use this WPS Office over the solution of Microsoft Office. A good example is, let's say, a price. WPS Office is having a lower cost than the Microsoft Office. The size on the disk, while I'm installing the Microsoft Office, definitely it is taking a big size on my hard drive. Rather than this, it is lightweighted, easy to use, and user friendly as well. I do not have to be much technical to getting trained the way we are getting trained from the Microsoft people about a super duper uh, explanation in that from which particular module what you can do. The moment I know that a basic documentation skill I am having it, I can even start using the WPS Office. So that is what the idea is, that if already the requirement is clear with us, and based on that requirement, if we do are having some analysis ready, so whatever the question that I have just shared, and I was just creating the analysis on how the. Alright, so as I said, like today's agenda is all about to getting started with automation, and also we have to make sure that whatever the possible tools which are available in market, uh, why actually we are not using those, but we are strongly recommending to switch on to the Selenium. We will be discussing those everything in agenda of today. The agenda of today is all about to ensure that before shifting on to the automation, what all environment we need to configure, why we are only picking as a solution to have the automated tool as in Selenium, even if we do have a number of different other solutions available as well in market. And also we will talk about that what are the good candidates. That means what are the possible use cases or the scenarios that we can actually automate it, and what are the bad cases which we should have to avoid doing as an automation. So now as we have a bit idea about how the manual testing works, we have seen that over the period of time, whenever we are actually working in a agile fashion, or even if we are working with a model like iterative incremental model, where we have to keep engaging with developers continuously about the quality feedbacks. Basically, whatever they are delivering as a release or the build, we are equally being responsible to ensure that whatever we have tested yesterday is still working today as well. And what actually happens that due to already tested things that we are actually testing it again, sometimes we are not able to contribute the time that actually we should have to focus on onto the new requirements or the new developed things. So it's more like we are in iteration one, and in the iteration one we have delivered, let's say, three features. Then in the iteration two, or in the cycle two, probably we are not only testing the a third developed new feature like another three new features, but additionally we are having keep focusing on to the eye on ensuring the quality of previously delivered three features, where not all three features we will be verifying it, but definitely at certain point based on to a acceptance level, or if not then based on to our confirmation level, that whether the things that we have delivered in the previous iteration are those things are still working in the current iteration or not. So that's the reason why testing at times are being a tricky job, because until we do not have idea that whether the areas are affected due to recent code change or not, we are not able to define the testing scope. And as we are not able to define the testing scope, and we have to test all areas possibly, because there might be a chances to have the issues present, we just usually can't achieve those levels of quality verifications within a given time period. And also at times for the manual tester, such kind of job is being a very tedious job because the things which have already verified, why it is supposed to require to verify it, because just because developer has changed the code, and after changing the code there is a high threat or medium threat that there might be a high chances about breaking the things which were working fine. Most of the time developer tracks the changes, that what all changes are happened, due to which what all modules are needs to be verified. But nevertheless, like there is always a curiosity that rather actually just checking the modules affected, we are trying to also play around with some regression areas, and those regression areas are actually cost a time, or I would say cost a budget as well, because we are occupying a number of testers to complete the regression cycles, where regression cycles are nothing but a number of test cases considered against to the particular build or the release, just to ensure that whether the each and every areas are still working fine or not. So here, uh, whatever the automation that I'm just currently talking about is all about functional automation. Um, we do have already discussed in past that automation is not about just Selenium, it's beyond that. Even if whatever the bugs that you are reporting on the Excel sheet, even if you are just writing down the test cases in the test case management tool, this will are the good example from switching from a human-based management matrices to the uh, automated system-based management, where if we are reporting the bugs in Excel sheet, we certainly do not have a quick way to filter out that how many number of high issues are there versus which versions are there versus which modules are there. But if we are shift to a particular tool, certainly like Mentis or Jira or Track or Redmine, we are still able to get some more statistics quickly, because those tools have the inbuilt pairing and communicating the discussion thing from database, where from the database of that particular tool it will automatically render the result queries like how many majority issues are there, how many issues are rejected, how many issues are reopened. So altogether, like automation is actually being a big task, where automation can be achieved for functional automation. Automation can also be achieved for the non-functional automation as well. A really good example of non-functional automation tool is Apache JMeter, where basically Apache JMeter is being a non-functional performance testing tool which still help us on a day-to-day life to run a basic set of tests in a manner of performance only. So yeah, like let's target the automation terminology in that manner, that automation is not about Selenium only, just because we are doing automation with web. We have to also think on a larger point where automation can be being a part of the whole industry, where whenever you feel that this task is something that I should have to automate because tomorrow I have to again just re-verify everything, you should have to start thinking about the automation today itself by knowing that reality, that yes, tomorrow only a heavy regression is in queue and we have to suffer for short time crunch and have to complete and deliver the quality. Now, what are the ways by which in industry they are achieving the automation? So basically, if a version 1 is already delivered in market of the particular project, then on that stable version, whatever the manual test cases which are already created and the test cases which are already passing from the couple of releases, those list of test cases will be provided to a automation manager, and then later that automation engineer manager decides that how many number of automation test scenarios that we can design it in a day, and even if to achieve this efficiently, what is the best tool by which we can thought of to have it. A good example is, let's say if your company is all about mobile application development, let's say, and you have to contribute to the automation, then certainly knowing only Selenium will not suffice the help, because certainly for mobile applications like .apk and IPA, we directly cannot actually work with automation. Like we have to also make sure that those automation will be considered to be as in prioritized list of tools as well. So as soon as we'll have the list of test cases in our bucket, that what all needs to be automated versus what all needs not to be automated, the next task happens is all about what is the best tool that will resolve our problems out. So as I say, like in the recent example, if your company is all about doing a mobile automation, just knowing Selenium will not help much. You have to slowly and gradually start switching onto the direction of Appium, where Appium is nothing but application plus Selenium, which is nothing but on top wrapper of Selenium only. Basically, Selenium is actually a kind of more or less a core of programming established to achieve the web automation. And on top of it, there are n number of different wrapper class which are existing in the market currently, which solves the particular problem out. A good example is, let's say I talked about the mobile application automation, then Appium is being a wrapper which is nothing but on top of, like, Selenium only it is used behind it. Same way, let's say if you want to do a Windows based application automation, Selenium doesn't actually help much. You have to look for Vinium as a solution, where Vinium is nothing but Windows plus Selenium. That makes it Vinium. You realize it that nowadays mobile applications are more and more getting developed in Flutter, where Flutter is nowadays another important or interesting technology where iOS and Android development is actually using a lot many internal code that across the both platform works commonly. So let's say Flutter. For the Flutter based technology, if someone wants to do automation because it's a mobile application with the Flutter technology developed, yes, there is a Flutter WebDriver API, or I would say a Selenium wrapper available, uh, which certainly helps our job to done for a Flutter based mobile application automation as well. So being said that automation is all about helping us to reduce the regression. It is helping us to give the faster feedback when we are running in crunch in time and there is kind of a tight deadline to deliver certain results about the quality checks. And also, uh, today, if you are investing X amount of time to achieve automation, tomorrow you do not have to relook at and regain the control of measuring the results. It will be all about coming out on some dashboard, flashing the graphs and the charts, explaining that what all things worked versus not work. Even later, by going through that report, even manual tester can look at it, even client can look at it and can ensure that what actually happened wrong. So yeah, here I have just given a couple of idea that what all areas where test automation is being helpful. So when there are a lot many scenarios where we have to continuously repeatedly recall the preconditions, then just following the precondition steps will definitely kill you out. A pretty good example of precondition based scenarios to run is, let's say, e-commerce website. When you are talking about e-commerce website, when even if you have to verify the add to cart, where you have to verify the payment stream, until you will not pass the order in the cart, you will not able to perform any operation within it. So passing the order in the cart is definitely a plenty of steps together. And if we are not following those steps, we will not have the order in the cart. So that sort of preconditions I'm talking about, where those preconditions are being so repetitive that at times we try to realize it that what if there is something ready as an test script.
which actually overcomes our effort of doing those steps again and again. A pretty good example of a test script is whatever the manual test cases that you are writing down, those all test cases will be further converted into the uh, programming language. So here we will let me show you a small example by which you can relate that when we are talking about the test script. Test script is nothing but you will have some editor that can be either a programming editor or either it can be a tool editor. A tool editor means under the same tool you have the editor available where you can edit your code. But if the tool does not have ability to edit the code in within it, then we can also kind of use some third-party editors of a particular programming language, and underneath we can just verify the each and every step which we are actually targeting for the manual verification. So by doing this, we are just reducing the next iteration cycle where we can just have the hit button to run the particular list of scenarios, and that will just make sure the application health or maybe a regression that what all areas where requirement change happen, but a developer of an automation got no information, just as all the members were busy doing the quality verification manually. By the time whatever the new requirement or old requirements enhancement that we will have, those were not communicated to us, and as it was not communicated to us, the scenario which are relevant within it will always fail. These are the good areas to look at it where without investing much time, once done, it is kind of continuously forever giving resulting it is. The idea of having the automation in place is to make the agile development rapid. Because in agile, finding out the defects lately is kind of a question mark definitely that what you were doing in the iteration one if you are finding out those bugs in iteration two. Where between this many years we have already exchanged the username, we have already exchanged the password and everything and other details, then those also needs to be modified at the test script level as well. So yeah, when I was mentioning about test script, this is a really good example where via help of Selenium, I have created a four combination of correct username, correct password, wrong username, wrong password, correct username, wrong password, and wrong username, correct password. The moment if I will be running this particular code internally, it will be checking for us that what are the possible username that we have to insert and what are the possible password we have to consider while performing the run. So yeah, that is what like next time I should not have to much worry about login to verify. All I have to just run this code, which is acting as a test script for us. It will just execute those and done it. So basically, test script is nothing but a good, nice representation of your manual test cases to the coding language. As I am doing it in Java, I have just as a reference showed you the Java code. However, further this all code can be wrapped up with the good English type language and later that is recognized as some testing pyramid. So we'll talk about testing pyramid, but before moving on to this, do you have any questions, queries, or doubts with the introduction that what all type of programming language we can think of, what actually automation is all about? Yeah. Any questions? Sorry, can you come again? Hello. No questions? So far, so good. All right. So let's take a look now that what all possible scenarios that we have to think of to do automation in industry. Whenever there is a matter of frequent regression coming in picture, we should have to start doing the automation. Basically, automation is all about a washing machine or a oven, which makes your life easy because it has pre-mounted commands, and those commands are actually kind of away to you that you just even press this button, it automatically hits up your thing, whichever you have kept it in oven. If you hit this button, it will wash your clothes if you have added the water and the powder and the cloth in it. So that is what automation looks like. You hit one button, and if the commands are known to you, all commands that which are mounted within it, we are just simply reusing it number of times. At times, it is not mandatory required that you always have to do a coding, but knowing a basic object-oriented concepts will definitely deliver next level things. It can have a control to modify the scripts. However, nowadays as automation is being a key area, people are also having plenty of tool where they can just simply do record and play back. That means whatever the operation that you are doing, those operations will be recorded. Later, it will be just re-verified it by playing back those. We'll be definitely also taking a look of one of the record and playback tool which is available nowadays within Selenium only, named as Selenium ID. Before that, we are just making comfortable with ourselves that what all possible scenarios we can automate, what are the different tools which are proposing the same thing, and what are the challenges that we might face while we are moving in the direction of automation. Yeah. Okay. There is a question that do we need to know programming language for automation testing?